Okay guys, quick update with Bitcoin. So a little bit to cover here. I want to show you why this yellow, orange, and red trend lines are so important. They go back since the beginning of Bitcoin. If we hold above these levels, all right, and I'll give you the next major resistance level above, but if we hold above this point and start pushing up, all right, and we get above the key resistance level, that becomes support, then we can push much higher. I'm going to give you those levels. If we start holding below these points, all right, get daily candles open below, I think that's a clue we're going much lower. And if we get below these two critical support levels here, if that becomes resistance, that's confirmation we're going much lower. I do want to break down these lines and show you why they are so important. And we're going to cover a few other charts on the weekly as well. And as usual, guys, I'll give you your key support and resistance levels on the hourly also. If you watched the last video, guys, this was about 5 days ago. I'll put a link up to it now if you want to check it out. I told you if we pushed up, your next point to short was around 64,600 right here. This is where you would open a short. If we pushed up, you had two opportunities to short that point. I hope you listened and you took advantage of it and you shorted it. The video before that one, I told you your point to short was 67,183. And now we need to find out if these support levels we're at now are going to hold. Again, that will be a clue to which way we're going, if we're going to push higher or if we have a lot lower to go. So again, I'm going to take these three trend lines, this blue ring and this orange ring, and copy it over this blank chart going back to 2013. And again, break down why those lines are so important. I have been keeping everyone updated in Discord. I try to teach. Not only do I do my technical analysis, but I kind of teach, what how I find these points. And what I like to do is when price stops at a certain point, I like to try to find out why it stopped at that point. So what I did was I drew a trend line back from this point, and as you can see, if you create a trend line and you go back, you can see it was resistance here, it became support here, support here. So if you pull this trend line out, that could be a point to open scalp longs. And as you can see, we got a first bounce, second bounce, third bounce, and then we got a fourth bounce, and we pushed up. So, actually what you can do is you can keep your short open from above, and in addition, open longs while keeping your short open. And when price pushes up, you take profit on your long. Again, keeping your short open. Price, hits this point, you open a long, take profit on your long. Price drops down, you open a long, take profit on your long, while keeping your short from above open, and all you're doing is just adding to your portfolio and making more money. So again, I do try to teach how I find these points. Again, guys, if you want to get access to these live charts and join our community in Discord, if you want to sign up, the link's pinned in the first comment description. It's offtheworkcrypto.com. Make sure that if you do sign up, you email me through the website, get access to Discord. You can pay with USDT, but you need to email me through the website if you want to pay with USDT. So again, if you want to join Discord, take advantage of that. So I do want to break down a few things, guys, about this chart. I'm going to copy these lines into this blank chart here, show you why those lines are so important. And by the way, three exchanges I use and trust are Bigot, BingX, and CoinCatch. Remember, CoinCatch is no KYC. If you want to sign up for those exchanges, I have links pinned in the first comment and description. And if you want to learn how to trade on Bigot, if you want to learn how to trade with leverage, this is a tutorial video I put up showing how to open a long, a short, set a stop loss, adjust your stop loss, trigger orders, all that. I'll link this video now if you want to check it out. So let's break down these key levels. Now, if you have been following me for a while, I told you, and again, these lines are so important. Take note that we got rejected right here at this point. This is a point to open a short. And I said, if we get above these three lines right here, we have never crossed or pushed above one of these lines without getting a pump. I made a video. I said, if we get above 54K, expect price to go parabolic. And that is what happened. I'll put a link up to that video now if you want to check it out. I also talked about this orange fib circle right here, this ring right here. I said stay bullish above, if we were before this ring as support, but once it became resistance and we made contact with it, that would be a point you might want to start looking at opening a short or basically getting out, expecting some more downside. And that does seem like that's how it's playing out. Keep in mind, guys, the Fed has been saying that they were going to lower interest rates at least 3 times this year. But now that inflation is starting to tick up, unemployment is low, the GDP is doing pretty good, overall the stock market is doing well also, it seems less likely that the Fed is going to lower interest rates. They have no reason to do that. If inflation is ticking up and unemployment is low, then they could keep interest rates higher for longer, and that is bad for traditional markets and very bad for Bitcoin. No free money means markets are going to continue down. So I think that's what this orange ring was predicting. And again, we're going to break all of this down and give you those key levels. So let's start with, let me get rid of these little squigglies here. So let's go ahead and break down this chart. So I'm going to copy this yellow trend line and we're going to paste it into this chart here. And actually, let me pull this back. You can see how important of a trend line this is. And again, this goes back to, again, this is the beginning of Bitcoin pretty much. It's 2000, I think it goes back to 2011, but this is 2013 here. But if you'll take note, this was resistance in 2013. Notice we pushed above it, we got a pump, it became support, soon it became resistance, we had a drop, right? Right here, we pushed above it, got a pump, became support, pushed up, got another pump. As soon as we dropped below this point, it became resistance. Once we pushed above it, it became support, got another pump, became support. Once we broke it, we dropped. Once we pushed above it, it became support, we pushed up. Once we dropped below it, it became resistance. We dropped, it became resistance again, resistance, and as you can see, we just broke below this point. So this is a first clue that we could have a lot more downside. Let's grab the next trend line from this chart. And again, I will give you your support and resistance levels on hourly, and I will give you your key resistance levels. I just want you to understand why these trend lines are so important. So this is the orange trend line. Let's paste it in. Notice back in 2013, it was resistance, right? Resistance. Right? Once we pushed above it, we got a pump. It became support. Once it became resistance, we dropped. It was resistance here. Pushed above it, it was support. Once we broke below it, we dropped. Came up as resistance, dropped again. Once we pushed above it, we got a pump, became support, got another pump. You see it was support here. Once we broke below it, we dropped. So again, you can see all of these lines converged right here. And this is why I said once we got above this point, this is where you'd want to go long. But again, if those lines become resistance, again, that would be confirmation for me if we're going much lower. Now let's grab this last trend line here, this red one. Let's copy it and let's paste it in. So you can see that line is also very important. Back in 2017, it was resistance, right? We pushed above it, got a pump, held a support, held a support, held a support, support. Once we broke below it, we had a drop. So you can see how important these three macro trend lines are. Again, we never pushed above one without getting a pump, so we knew that once we got above this point to go long. And now we are below the yellow trend line, holding above the orange one. So we know if we hold, there's a lot of support here. If we hold above this point and push up, guys, we could have some more upside. But if this becomes resistance, we know we have a lot more downside. Now let me copy those rings in just to show you again. So this is the this orange fib circle right here. This is one that said stay bullish as long as we're before it. But once we pass it, right? And keep in mind, if you've been following me for quite a while, this fib circle actually nailed the top. We hit this twice. This is back in 2021 on the 12th of March, and this was April 14th, 2021. So this actually, this ring right here actually predicted the top, or point too short. But if you'll take note, when we dropped, we came down, we tested this as support, we pushed up. Once we broke it, it became resistance, and then we dropped. Notice we were holding support, breaking below these trend lines. But notice once we hit this ring, it became support, resistance. We had another drop, and then we started going sideways and up. Notice, and again, as I said before, stay bullish as long as we were before this orange ring as support. Notice it became support. Once we broke it, we had a drop. But what changed, if this orange ring was no longer support, it became resistance. And as I said, once we make contact with it on the daily, that would be the point you might want to start opening a short or looking to take profit on your longs, or at least get out, because we could have a lot more downside. This blue ring here, and if you've been following me, you know about this blue ring. We have never crossed one of these blue rings without getting a pump. I want to show you this one more time. As you can see, and again, this ring goes back since the beginning of Bitcoin as well. Notice we pushed above it, we got a pump, became resistance. We pushed above it, got a pump, pushed above it, got a pump. You'll notice back here, it became resistance. We pushed above it, got a pump. Same thing back here. It was a lot of support and resistance. As we pushed above it, we got a pump. It became resistance. Pushed above it, came support. But you can see here, as soon as we finally got above it, you can see we got a pump. It became support. We continued pushing up. Right here, we pushed above it, got a pump, became support. As soon as we crossed it, we pushed up. Right here, this was in 2019. As soon as we crossed this ring, you see the price went parabolic. We started pushing up. Right here, we crossed this blue ring. And again, this is all the same flip circle. Once we crossed it, we pushed up. If you've been following me, I made a video about this blue ring here. I said once we cross it to go long, because we, again, never crossed one of these blue rings without getting a pump. This is where we were down around 16K. So this is a point you want to buy in or go long. And notice we crossed this blue ring, we also got a pump. So that tells me we have a roadmap for what price is going to do. If we hold above this key level, let's say around 57,200, and we start pushing up, we know if we cross this ring, this is a point to buy in and go long because we are going much higher. If price gets below this point and this becomes resistance, regardless of how low we go, we know that once you cross this ring, this is a point you buy in and go long, because we have never crossed a blue ring without getting a pump. So that's just wanted to break down why those lines are so important. I'm going to go back to the D1 chart and give you more precision targets to pay attention to. So if we do push up, and again, I'll give you the your key levels on the hourly as well. So if you notice, we found support. I made a post about this in Discord. This was in confluence of the H1 chart. So we found support right at this on this fib channel line, this blue line right here at 56,400. So that is your key support level to pay attention to right now. All right. So if we start getting daily opens and we start pushing up, your most critical resistance level above is going to be around. So again, this would be a point to open a short if you have not already shorted. I would not open a short here. That would be risky to me. But if the price pushes up to say 58,900, potentially 59K, that would be a point to open a short, depending when you make contact, because that is your most key resistance level above. If we get above 59,400 and that holds as support, the next point to take profit on your long or potentially open a short would be around 65,900. Again, this is a very key support and resistance level I've been talking about for quite a while. Take note, when we pushed up, we kind of got above the central Bollinger Band on the daily. It became resistance. We dropped. And you can see that second time we pushed up, we topped out of the center Bollinger Band on the daily. If you'll take note, this top Bollinger Band on the daily is now moving down to this key resistance level. So again, if we get above 59,400, hold as support, you would want to take profit on your long or potentially open a short, again, up here around 65,900, maybe 66K, depending when you make contact. Let's give you these price labels here. So we know 59K is your most critical resistance right now. And again, as I said, your most critical support level below is going to be around 55,000 down to 54,200. As I said, we have a lot of support in this general area. All right, so if this holds, we could go much higher. I would get bullish if we hold above 59,400. That being said, if we get below 55,000, 54,200, that becomes resistance, then I'm expecting that we'll have a lot more downside. All right, let me give you a few other targets. So let me go to the hourly and give you those targets, and then we'll cover the weekly as well. So right here, and again, as I said, confluence, you can see the H1 chart, this fib channel line, 56,900 held as support. Your next key support level below, and these would be points to scalp longs. Again, this is your most critical support level. You see there's a lot of confluence around 55,400. Again, I'll show you the weekly confirmation as well. Your next support level to potentially scalp along. Once we're down around 54,000, I think once we're at that point, I think that's confirmation we're going much lower, but that would be a point to scalp along. Your resistance level just above. Again, you can see the confluence between the D1 chart and the H1 chart. Your current resistance right now is around 58,548 up to 59,000. So those would be the points to open a short. We get above that, hold a support. It could be bullish for some more upside. I would like to point out this is the weekly chart. And again, this is that blue ring. I said we've never crossed one of these blue rings without getting a bump. And you can see the center Bollinger Band on the weekly is sitting right at 55,500. That is, I'm just trying to make it very clear why that is such a key level. If that holds, yes, we could push up, we could go higher. We know that if we cross this ring, we are going much higher. So you know exactly when to buy in and go long whenever we cross this ring. That being said, if 55,500 becomes resistance, then we know, at least according to my charts, we have a lot more downside. And I can tell you this is the bottom Bollinger Band on the weekly, depending where that is when we make contact. You know, just assuming, let's just say this takes a few weeks to play out, that could be down around 37,789. Obviously we get below that point where we're going much lower. But again, this blue ring, you know, if we push up and cross it, you know, buy in, go long, we're going much higher. That being said, you know, if price continues down and we're in a bear market and we start going much lower, well, when we cross this ring, this is where you buy in and go long, and that potentially will be the bottom. I'd like to point out, if you look down here, this is the MACD on the weekly. Notice we just got a cross. This is a bearish cross right here. Now we are the RSI is a little low, so we could get a bounce. And again, like I said, there's a lot of support just below us, but it's important that these levels hold. You can see this level right here, 56,400 is your current support level. That is a fib channel line. As long as we hold above that point, if we push above 59K, 59,400, get bullish up to at least 66,000 around that area. And if we start dropping, again, I showed you, every time we break one of these macro trend lines, we've already broken this yellow one. We did drop below this orange one, but we're kind of wicking back up. So if we start getting daily opens below 57,200, especially 56,400, which is this trend line, or I'm sorry, this fib channel line. We start getting daily opens below this point. The next point to pay attention to is around 55,000 to 54,180. Again, if we get below this point and start getting daily opens below, again, that's game over for the bulls, and we are headed much lower. Make sure I'm going to give you so you have your key levels on the hourly. So again, your key support level right now looks to be 56,900 down to 56,400. That is your most critical support right now. If we get above 59,400, then we're bullish up to at least 66K. But if you don't get access to this chart, guys, this ring is probably the most important ring I've ever created, because we know when we cross it, we're going much higher. But again, these are your key levels to pay attention to. Again, guys, if you want to get leverage trading, three exchanges I use and trust are BingX, CoinCatch, and Bigot. Remember, CoinCatch is no KYC. Jump on that while you can. All those links to sign up are pinned in the first comment description. If you want to sign up to get access to these charts in Discord, the website is optorcrypto.com. That link's pinned in the first comment description. Make sure you email me through the website, get access to Discord, and I do have tutorials teaching my charting methods, so you can learn how I create these fib channel charts from scratch and how I find these fib circles that help us predict moves way in advance. But guys, that's pretty much it. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.